Here's the thing about Vin Diesel. The whole world thinks they know him. The shaved head, the gravelly voice, the guy who has spent the better part of 2 decades telling us that family is everything while driving very fast and very illegally through very expensive cities. But what most people don't realize is that the love affair with cars, that is not acting. That is not a character. Vin Diesel genuinely, deeply, almost obsessively loves automobiles. And he has spent a reported $30 million proving it. The man behind the machine. Before we get into the cars, let's talk about the man himself. Mark Sinclair. Yes, that is his real name. Vin Diesel is a stage name, which honestly makes him even cooler. Was born in 1967 in New York City. He climbed from a struggling actor doing uncredited roles to one of the highest paid entertainers on the planet, with a net worth estimated at around $225 million. And unlike some celebrities who buy cars as status symbols and let them collect dust in a climate-controlled garage somewhere in Beverly Hills, Vin Diesel is a man who actually drives his machines. He has spoken publicly about his passion for automobiles long before the Fast and Furious franchise made it his professional identity. The cars in his collection are not props. They are not investments sitting behind velvet ropes. They are personal. They are emotional. And in some cases, they are absolutely breathtakingly insane. Number 10, 1994, Toyota Supra. Now, look before anyone in the comments says anything. Yes, it belongs on this list. Because this particular car is not just a car. For Vin Diesel, and frankly for an entire generation of automotive enthusiasts, the 1994 Toyota Supra is the car that started everything. Cast your mind back to 2001. The original Fast and the Furious hit cinema screens, and audiences go absolutely wild for a bright orange Supra, pulling away from a black Dodge Charger at a traffic light. That scene did something remarkable. It made an entire generation of young people fall in love with Japanese performance cars overnight. Toyota's sales figures for the Supra had been struggling. After that film, every teenager on the planet wanted one. The Supra that appeared in the film was powered by a 2JZ engine, an inline-6 that tuning enthusiasts have been coaxing outrageous horsepower figures from for decades. And Vin Diesel, being Vin Diesel, kept a Supra in his personal collection as a tribute to where it all began. It's the sentimental one, the nostalgic one, the automotive equivalent of keeping your first love letter in a shoebox under the bed. Excellent condition examples of the 1994 Supra today fetch anywhere between $80,000 and $150,000 at auction, particularly the turbocharged variants. Not the most expensive car in this collection by a long stretch, but arguably the most meaningful. Number 9, 1970, Dodge Charger RT. If the Supra is the sentimental favorite, then the 1970 Dodge Charger RT is the soul of this entire collection. This is the car, the one that anyone who has ever watched a Fast and Furious film sees when they close their eyes and think about Dominic Toretto. Now, here is where things get interesting. The black Dodge Charger that Dom drives in the franchise is described in the films as his father's car. A 440 cubic inch, big block, dangerous, barely street-legal machine that the character treats with reverence bordering on religious devotion. And Vin Diesel, somewhat remarkably, carries that same reverence into his real life. The 1970 Charger RT was one of the most ferocious American muscle cars ever produced. It came equipped with either a 440 cubic inch Magnum V8 engine or the legendary 426 cubic inch Hemi, an engine so powerful that insurance companies in the 1970s actively refused to cover young drivers who owned one. I mean, that is a level of automotive notoriety that money genuinely cannot buy. A well-preserved, numbers-matching 1970 Charger RT with the Hemi engine today commands prices anywhere between $150,000 and $400,000, depending on its condition and provenance. Vin's personal example, used both on and offset over the years, sits comfortably at the higher end of that valuation. It is the car that made him famous, and he has never let it go. Number 8, 1963, Chevrolet Corvette Stingray. Here is where people sometimes get surprised, because lurking behind all the muscle cars and the hypercars and the franchise vehicles, Vin Diesel has a genuine appreciation for classic American automotive artistry. And nothing represents that quite like the 1963 Chevrolet Corvette Stingray. The split-window coupe of '63 is widely considered to be one of the most beautiful production cars America has ever built. Full stop. No argument. The design team led by Bill Mitchell created something so striking, so visually perfect, that Chevrolet's own engineers reportedly wanted to remove the central spine that divided the rear window. And the designers refused because it looked too good. They were right. It did look too good. Under that stunning body sat a V8 engine producing between 250 and 360 horsepower, depending on specification. And in 1963, that was genuinely extraordinary performance. A pristine example today is worth somewhere between $100,000 and $500,000, with the most collectible split-window coupes commanding the higher figures. Vin Diesel's example is finished in a classic silver blue that makes it look like it drove straight out of a 1960s dream. You almost feel bad that a man with hands that large has to fold himself into something that small. Almost. Number 7, 1967, Ford Mustang Shelby GT500. Right? So, if you are building a dream American car collection and you have a Charger and a Corvette, and you do not include a Shelby GT500, people will talk. Vin Diesel knows this, which is why sitting in his garage is one of the most iconic pony cars in American automotive history. The 1967 Ford Mustang Shelby GT500, Carroll Shelby. A man who turned a perfectly nice everyday Ford Mustang into something that would genuinely try to kill you if you were not paying attention. The GT500 packed a 428 cubic inch Cobra jet V8 engine producing 355 horsepower. And if you believe that figure, I have a bridge to sell you, because independent testing of the era consistently showed the actual output was significantly higher than the official number. Ford and Shelby were playing games with the insurance companies, and frankly, we respect it. Today, an authentic, well-documented 1967 Shelby GT500 is worth somewhere in the region of $180,000 to $250,000. The most exceptional examples with documented race history have exceeded $300,000 at auction. In Vin Diesel's collection, this car sits as a testament to the golden era of American performance, raw, thunderous, and entirely unapologetic. Number 6, 2005 Lamborghini Murcielago. And just like that, we leave American soil entirely, because if you thought this collection was going to stay comfortably inside the borders of Detroit muscle and California classics, think again. Vin Diesel's tastes run considerably wider than that. The man has a European side, a very loud, very Italian, very 12-cylinder European side. And it makes its presence felt in the form of the 2005 Lamborghini Murcielago. Now, the Murcielago. Let's talk about the name first, because the story behind it is almost too good to be true. In 1879, a fighting bull named Murcielago entered the arena and did something that fighting bulls are not supposed to do. It survived. 24 sword strikes from the matador. 24. And instead of delivering the final blow, the matador spared the animal out of pure, stunned respect. Lamborghini took that name and put it on their most ferocious machine. And honestly, it fits perfectly, because the Murcielago is exactly the kind of car that refuses to be put down. The Murcielago served as Lamborghini's flagship supercar for over a decade, and it earned that position every single day. At the heart of the car sat a 6.5-liter V12 engine that screamed all the way to 8,000 revolutions per minute, producing 630 horsepower in its most evolved form. The noise this engine produces at full throttle is something that genuinely defies written description. We have tried multiple times. The closest we have ever come is this. Imagine a very angry Italian orchestra that has been told rehearsal is canceled, and they are going home via the autostrada. That is your closest approximation. You are welcome. The 0 to 60 time came in at 3.8 seconds, and the top speed nudged past 205 miles per hour. For a car that wide, that low, and that aggressively styled, those figures felt almost inevitable. This was not a car that was trying to be fast. This was a car that simply could not help itself. Vin Diesel's example is finished in a deep, almost sinister black that makes it look less like a road car and more like a stealth aircraft that got bored of flying and decided to try something more dramatic. At the time of purchase, a new Murcielago carried a price tag in the region of $279,000. Today, excellent condition examples are trading between $150,000 and $250,000, and climbing. This is the point in the collection where things stop being merely impressive and start becoming genuinely extraordinary. And we are only at number 6. Number 5, 2017 Bugatti Chiron. Take a breath. Seriously, take an actual breath. Because we have just crossed into a completely different financial stratosphere, one where the air is thinner, the numbers have more zeros, and ordinary human beings are simply not supposed to exist. Welcome to the Bugatti tier. Population, very few. The 2017 Bugatti Chiron is not a supercar. Let's get that cleared up immediately. Calling the Chiron a supercar is like calling the Pacific Ocean a puddle. It is technically in the same category, but the comparison is so wildly inappropriate that it becomes almost offensive. The Chiron is a hypercar, a megacar, an event. It is the kind of machine that makes other manufacturers' flagship models feel the sudden, uncomfortable need to sit down quietly and reconsider their entire existence. Bugatti built the Chiron as the successor to the Veyron, a car that was already widely regarded as the greatest production automobile ever made. And then, somehow, with what can only be described as a magnificent disregard for reasonable expectations, they made it faster, more powerful, more luxurious, more technologically advanced, and more expensive. The Veyron was supposed to be the ceiling. Bugatti looked at that ceiling, nodded politely, and built a staircase straight through it. At the heart of the Chiron sits an 8-liter quad-turbocharged W16 engine. Let those words settle for just a moment. 16 cylinders, 4 turbochargers, 1,500 horsepower, 420 pound-feet of torque, available from virtually the moment you breathe on the accelerator pedal. 0 to 60 miles per hour arrives in 2.4 seconds. A figure so violent that your internal organs genuinely need a moment to catch up with the rest of your body. The electronically limited top speed is 261 miles per hour. And we use the word limited very deliberately. Bugatti's own engineers have quietly acknowledged that the true capability of the Chiron extends beyond that number. The reason for the limiter? The tires. The Michelin tires specifically developed for this car would begin to physically disintegrate at speeds above that threshold. The tires are the limiting factor, not the engine, not the aerodynamics. The tires. That is the level of performance we are discussing. When the Chiron launched, its base price was $2,900,000, just under $3 million. For a single automobile, Bugatti produced only 500 examples worldwide, and crucially, simply possessing the money was not sufficient qualification. Bugatti personally approved every buyer, every single one. Vin Diesel apparently made the cut. Given the man's resume, this seems entirely fair. His Chiron sits in that garage as a very expensive, very French reminder that when Dominic Toretto talks about power, he is absolutely not speaking hypothetically. Number 4, 2014 Lykan Hypersport. Now, if you watch Furious 7, and if you did not watch Furious 7, what have you been doing? You will remember a scene in which a car crashes through not 1, but 3 skyscrapers in Abu Dhabi. That car was the Lykan Hypersport, and Vin Diesel has one. The Lykan Hypersport was produced by a Lebanese company called W Motors, and it is one of the rarest production cars on the face of the earth. Only 7 units were ever made. 7, the entire production run. The car was powered by a twin-turbocharged flat-6 engine producing 770 horsepower, enabling a 0 to 60 time of 2.8 seconds and a top speed of 240 mph. But the performance figures, extraordinary as they are, are almost secondary to the sheer audacity of the thing. The headlights contained actual diamonds and rubies embedded in titanium LED blades. The interior stitching was made with gold thread. This is not a car. This is a piece of jewelry that happens to go 240 miles per hour. The original price of the Lykan Hypersport was $3,400,000. And given that only 7 exist on the planet, any discussion of current market value enters the territory of pure speculation, because there is essentially no comparable sale data. What we can say with confidence is that this is one of the rarest automobiles in any private collection anywhere in the world, and Vin Diesel owns one, because of course he does. Number 3, 1970. Plymouth Roadrunner. We are back in muscle car territory, and we are very happy about it, because the 1970 Plymouth Roadrunner is a car that does not get nearly enough credit in conversations about American automotive greatness. And Vin Diesel, being someone with genuinely good taste beneath all the Hollywood flash, clearly understands this. The Roadrunner was Plymouth's answer to a very specific question. What if we built an absolute rocket of a muscle car and sold it for a price that ordinary people could actually afford? The result was a stripped-back, no-nonsense performance machine named, in a licensing deal that must have seemed completely insane at the time, after the Warner Brothers cartoon character. It came with a 426 cubic inch Hemi engine as the top option, the same legendary power plant that appeared in the Charger, producing 425 horsepower in an era when that figure was almost science fiction. The Roadrunner was not about luxury. It was not about refinement. It was not about making you feel comfortable. It was about going very fast in a straight line and making a noise like the end of days while doing it. A pristine, Hemi-equipped 1970 Roadrunner today commands between $150,000 and $300,000 at auction, with the most desirable examples pushing even higher. In Vin Diesel's collection, it serves as the purest choice. The reminder that sometimes the best things in life are the ones that do exactly one thing and do it with absolutely zero apology. Number 2, 2013 Dodge Charger SRT 8. We said earlier that the muscle car and the Charger are at the soul of this collection. Number 2 underlines that point with a very large exclamation mark. Because while the 1970 original is the historical anchor, the 2013 Dodge Charger SRT8 is the modern continuation of that legacy, and Vin Diesel treats it as such. The SRT8 variant of the 2013 Charger was powered by a 6.4-liter Hemi V8 engine, producing 470 horsepower and 470 pound-feet of torque. It was a proper, serious performance saloon that could embarrass cars costing significantly more money, while simultaneously carrying 4 adults and their luggage in genuine comfort. 0 to 60 in 4.2 seconds, a top speed of 175 miles per hour. And it absolutely looked like it meant business. What makes this particular car interesting in the context of Vin Diesel's collection is what it represents. The Charger has been his most consistent automotive companion, both on-screen and off. From the original 1970 model to this modern interpretation, the Charger runs like a thread through everything. Some people have a favorite restaurant they return to their whole life. Vin Diesel has a favorite car brand, and that brand is Dodge. No further questions. Number 1, 2017 Koenigsegg Reggera. Here we are, the crown jewel, the car that sits at the very top of Vin Diesel's collection, and at an estimated value of $2 million to $3 million, with some informed observers placing the true current market value even higher, represents the single most expensive and extraordinary automobile in one of the most remarkable private garages in Hollywood, the 2017 Koenigsegg Reggera. If you have not heard of the Reggera, allow me to introduce you to what Swedish engineer Christian von Koenigsegg decided to build when he apparently felt that existing hypercars were simply not dramatic enough. The Reggera, the name means to reign in Swedish, which tells you everything about the attitude going in, was powered by a twin turbocharged 5-liter V8 internal combustion engine, producing 1,100 horsepower. But here is where it gets extraordinary. That engine was paired with 3 electric motors, giving the Reggera a combined system output of 1,500 horsepower. This made it, at the time of its release, one of the most powerful road-legal production cars ever built. But the number that truly separates the Reggera from everything else is not the power figure. It is this. The car accelerates from 0 to 186 miles per hour. That is 0 to 300 kilometers per hour in 10.9 seconds. 10.9 seconds. To put that in perspective, a Bugatti Chiron takes approximately the same time to reach approximately 140 miles per hour. The Reggera covers an additional 46 miles per hour in that same window. It is, by almost any measurable standard, one of the fastest accelerating road-legal vehicles in human history. Only 80 Reggeras were ever produced. 80. The original price was $1,900,000. Given the scarcity, the performance, and the growing appreciation for Koenigsegg among serious collectors, current valuations range from $2,500,000 upward, with some examples believed to be worth considerably more depending on specification and provenance. Vin Diesel's example is finished in a pearl white that manages to look simultaneously innocent and absolutely terrifying. It is the perfect capstone to a collection that begins with a 1994 Toyota Supra and ends somewhere in the stratosphere. And that, right there, is the $30 million garage of Mark Sinclair, the kid from New York who gave himself a cooler name, built one of the most successful film franchises in cinema history, and somewhere in between all of that, quietly assembled one of the most jaw-dropping private car collections on the planet. From the sentimental Supra to the almost impossible Reggera, from Mopar muscle to Swiss watches and diamond headlights exotic. This is a collection with a personality, and that personality is exactly what you would expect from the man who has spent 20 years telling us that it is not about the destination. It is about how fast you get there.